You are now listening to For All Nerds Show, a podcast about geek and pop culture from the perspective of people of color. For All Nerds is hosted by DJ Ben Amin and Tatiana Keene Jones. For All Nerds Show is a member of the Loudspeakers Network, where we always say rest in peace to our founder, Combat Jack.
For All Nerds Show is powered by our listeners. Everything we do, from our podcasts, live events, our website, are all independently funded. Please continue to support us through our Patreon page at patreon.com/forallnerds. Welcome to For All Nerds.
And what's up, y'all? And welcome back to this very extremely special episode of the For All Nerds Show. The voice of the urban geek, the podcast that discusses geek and pop culture from the perspective of people of color. And as always, I mean, not for a while, but back in the captain's chair, it's your boy, DJ Ben Amin, a.k.a. the Mobius Dip. Ghost in the Shell Toe, Doctor Who's Mans is this, Master Splinter Cell, Trinidad Bane, keep that same inner John when you see me, Arsenio Holodeck, here in the spaceship tonight. And as always, it's been a minute. Yeah, waiting to jump in.
It is I, Tatiana Keene, the Grand Duchess of Tech, also known as the coldest winter soldier ever. Tatiana Kang, the Conqueror. Scroll Obsidian, Miles Tales, the Prowler, Lord of Lightsabers, and the Ting of the North.
Yeah. I don't
back.
really know what to say. Yeah, we are back. As you can see, if you're watching us on twitch.tv/forallnerds or YouTube, For All Nerds, whatever it is on there. I can't remember. It's been a minute. But yeah, YouTube, For All Nerds, we there,
Everywhere. Listen, Ben, you remember, we own the internet at this point. We've been on there. And I just want to say that I'm so proud and happy to see you back. I told Ben, I do not like podcasting with anybody but him. I can't just bring myself to just be doing it with somebody random. Like, nah, I need my bro. So it hit different. So let me just say congratulations on your return. I think it's something to celebrate. So I'm happy you're back.
Well, thank you very much. And thank you for holding down everything when I took my sabbatical, because just off the break, because I saw people asking, where's the show, all that type of thing. And, certain people didn't know, because I guess they might not follow me on socials specifically. But my father, William Byrd Johnson, passed away from this realm, from this world on July 31st of this year. And so ever since then, I obviously needed some time to just get myself together and to grieve properly and to mourn him and to celebrate his life the way I feel like it should have been and should be to this day and, forever. So that's what I've been doing, and it was definitely tough on me. My mom passed some years back, and not that long ago, to be honest. And so, the both of them passing has been a little hard on me. And so I really needed some time off. I took time off from work. I really wasn't doing much of anything. Playing a lot of video games and working on music mainly and reading comic books and stuff like that. So that's all I've pretty much been doing. And then I started back, DJing weddings and, my day job. I got back to that. And then I started back with some therapy recently, and shout out to my therapist. That's been helping a lot. And then I was like, it's about time to do the show, because, this week is New York ComiCon, and, I'll definitely be there because, no matter what is going on in life,
That's your Christmas, man.
Yeah, that's my Christmas, my Halloween, all rolled into one. So I'm so hyped. We're recording right now on Wednesday night, and Comic-Con starts in the morning, and I know the hall's already filled up, and there's
I was in there. It's
Oh
crazy.
yeah, you already in there. Yeah,
I was already in there. I was
you've
in
already
there
seen
yesterday.
dude.
Everything's there. Everything's crazy. The calm before the storm.
Did you see anything like because I'll tell you, the one year that I just always blows me, I mean, not blows me, it's like one of my favorite moments is when they had the Jurassic Park entrance.
Oh, okay.
Because when you walked in, the theme music played and this mist hit you in the face.
And
so the mist and the theme music, between the mist and the
not
theme,
the 4D theater special effects.
I never realized how much I loved the Jurassic Park theme until that year, because it's John Williams, you know, so yet another of his themes, but I never realized how good that one was. And when you walk in and that mist hits you, I was like, yo, I used to walk through that, like that whole weekend, I would just walk through that joint every time I was going into the hall to make sure I walked through that entrance. So
yeah, man.
Yeah.
It was so funny. Most of the stuff is already up, like as you can imagine. They were probably doing some last finishing touches, because like when I went to go get my badge, like there was like this one of those tractor type things that's like hanging stuff up, and they was dropping boxes and shit. And I'm like, damn, y'all fucking up already. But like, I'm sure there'll be something like that somewhere, maybe one of the
all
other
kind
entrances.
of different things, yeah.
But you know, the typical giant banners were everywhere. This is the main stage, this is that. And I would just say that it's cool to kind of be back in those halls and get the preliminary energy and that feeling back again. Like I like, call me a weirdo, right? I like when places that are supposed to be super packed are actually very empty.
Yes.
Because or empty enough, you know, relatively speaking. It's like, I actually thought some of the pandemic was a blessing, because I liked being in New York in a place that should never be empty, completely empty. But it was pretty cool, like to be able to be unfeathered, no one's in your way, no BO and all this other stuff. And it's just like you get to see it in its most pristine, right? In its most intended. So it's really cool to see Comic-Con in that way. But man, everything is up, ready to go. Hopefully they picked up them boxes they dropped, and I'm excited. I'm excited to see everybody. Oh, I did see Joe Illich. Shout out to Joe Illich. I did see him there too.
Shout out to Joe. I can't wait to see him tomorrow. I can't wait to see so many people. If you're at Comic-Con, look out for us. You know, we will be there all 4 days, pretty much most of all 4 days. So we'll be out there.
With some exclusives.
With some exclusives. We got some stickers as always. We have a panel we'll be part of a panel on Sunday. Sunday. So at that panel, we'll definitely have some t-shirts and stuff as well to give away to people. So come through to that, you know, get yourself some good stuff.
Yeah.
We'll be there all 4 days. You'll be seeing us, you know, we rocking these shirts, you know, that you see on me right now. Tatiana's wearing one that you can, you know, get on ForAllNerds.com. Thank you so much. Even during this break, to everyone who has been supporting us, supporting a small Black-owned independent business at ForAllNerds.com. We've been doing these shirts ourselves now, printing them up, coming up with these designs, shipping them out, all this different stuff. It's a work in progress, so thank you.
Appreciate the grace for those who are giving grace.
Yes.
Something we've talked about across media about how Black-owned brands are treated, especially brand new Black-owned brands who are actually putting in the work and doing their best to be great. Sometimes things also happen. So please give us some grace. Reach out to us, because all we want to do is make sure you're happy. And we want to make sure if anything's going on, that it gets resolved. So if you have a problem, reach out, email us, hit us up. We're going to make it right. But, you know, give us some grace.
Yes. And speaking of grace, like we said, we've been taking a break, you know, getting our own thoughts in order and everything. And another thing, if you follow me on social media, especially on Twitter, you might have seen I had some tweets where I was discussing some of the reasons why I wasn't in a hurry to get back to podcasting. And like we said, this is the 10th anniversary of ForAllNerds. So we've been doing this a minute, and I've been doing podcasting even longer than that. Like, I saw someone had a tweet today where they're talking about when you've been podcasting since it was like, you know, in-house journalistic editors and all this, to more of a TV type of world where they, you know, outsource their editing and all these things. And you have TV showrunners coming into podcasting to tell people what to do. And I'm just like, dog, I've been in podcasting when motherfucking didn't know what a podcast was.
Right.
Like, you talking about when podcasting had internal editors. I'm talking about podcasting when everything was you.
Back
You
in
know?
my day.
Yeah, and I mean, and that's not my thing. Like back in my day, my thing is just I've been in this a long time, and like as
Yeah.
far as why I even switched to For All Nerds from doing hip hop type podcasting was I hated how I saw when and you even see it today with the Joe Budden and Drake stuff, when someone has a criticism of someone, it turns into beef, and so I was like, well, if I talk about somebody comic book, they ain't, they might be mad, but what they gonna do? I slap these comic book creators around, ain't no one of them approaching me in the street, fam.
He's gonna draw you into a panel and kill you off. That's what they're gonna do.
Look, only dude, Kari Randolph, me and him might, he might got hands
for him because I'm not in that damn book. You are.
He might got hands for me, So other than that, I'll slap around, But no, I seen Joe Illidge working out. My man, not Oscar Isaac.
Not Otto.
No. God, his name is escaping me, so I'm just trying to keep it moving.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll slap these comic book creators around. So I've switched to For All Nerds so I could say whatever I wanted to say and not worry about that. But in the time that we've been doing it, what I've seen and what I'm sure you've all seen is how the ecosystem around us has changed and grown. And it's like now there's all these different people of color representing in the system, when before it was just us and a couple other people. Shout out to people like Rodimus Prime, who've been around longer than us even. And, the black nerd, the black girl nerd who, had a different name back then, so it's like there's a couple people, but it wasn't a lot when we started. And so now it's a lot of people, but beyond that, just the whole ecosystem of YouTube, of social media, of everything has turned into this thing, one where it's very negativity gets you more clicks.
So negative.
You dog something, people will immediately come to you. You hate on something, people will come to you. And we've never been like that. People call me a hater, but for the most part, as you see, we are pretty positive on most things. We don't sit around, like, you can look at our headlines, etc. We don't have those clickbait ass headlines where we're like, this show sucks.
Sometimes we have questionable headlines, but never
questionable.
We have questionable that make you want to ask a question, but we never.
But we're never just, and we don't just outright dog things. I've never been that way. You've never been that way. Like I said, 5 years ago, I was working in, like, even to the day I still work in Hollywood in some capacity, where I learned, it's a lot of cooks making these pies, and sometimes the people who you want to say suck, like the writers and directors, made a good ass pie, and then that pie got ruined by someone else along the way.
Yeah. There's a lot of factors that you don't know about. I mean, the thing is, at the end of the day, we're media professionals. We've been at this for so long that we can very clearly call ourselves that, and I believe that. No imposter syndrome here. I'm a media professional, and we learn. Thank you, sir. We've learned to, and thank you to you too, right? We've learned to critique, right, and back up our thoughts with details and supporting information and this and that and that. So just further to what Ben is saying about not being a straight hater, like, oh, this is ass, right? Now we might use that. I might use that as an adjective, like, oh, this shit was ass. But let me explain what I mean by that, right? Like, I won't just say it's ass and then go skip down the street, right? Like, I try to explain myself. And then even me, I've evolved over time, like tempered that way, like from what Ben is saying, him being in the Hollywood space, he's taught me, like, hey, by the way, even though you're feeling that way, and it's like, it's just a way to balance and communicate it, right? You can tell the truth, because at the end of the day, we're going to tell the truth without, like, with also still being considerate of the fact that there are a lot of moving parts, a lot of different people who do different things that create a product, a show, a book, whatever, right? Like, there's a lot that goes into it. So it's like, we're still being mindful, still trying to be respectful of the people who are involved. But at the same time, if something ain't right, we're going to say something.
And that being said, that's the thing. Like I said, there's this negative, ecosystem going on that you have to fight against. And then my other issue that I also brought up is the fact that we are basically, at some points, like when we do a show like Views from the 616, where we cover a Marvel show in depth, we are being a huge commercial for Marvel and for Disney. We're not getting paid by the one.
I know everyone thinks that. We are not getting paid, y'all. Like,
nothing.
We're not getting paid. Like, we're covering because we thought we're fucking with it, that we love it, that like the overall process, that's something that we're interested in. And, this is something that interests us in general, fandom, right? That's what we
Yes.
cover. But we don't get much out of it, right? The very people that were potentially but the corporation rather that we're propping up, we're not getting too many kickbacks from that, right?
No
And
kickbacks. No monetary
I think it's getting
kickbacks.
worse over time. So
And that's because, like I say, the ecosystem has grown, and there's always somebody else that these people can give access to, that this corporation can give access to, and because of that, it becomes this thing where it becomes a crab in the barrel thing, where we are start fighting over it. And I'm looking dead in the camera when I say this. It disgusts me. It straight up disgusts me how a lot of people in this world, in this sphere, act, and we. As you can see, like by our all-star shows, we are always the ones reaching out to everyone. We've brought all kind of different people with their own platform onto our platform to express their views, to join in this camaraderie, to show the unity and the strength that can happen. And 9 times out of 10, I do not feel that same love come back. And it is what it is. Rest in peace to my brother Combat Jack. He used to tell me, it doesn't matter. He's like, how many people I put on who never said anything to me? It doesn't matter. I still put more people on. Because that's what it is. And we do the same thing. But by that token, I am not going to sit here and fight for access so I can be a commercial to these things. Now, I will, today we're going to discuss Loki. And in the future, we might get back to doing, views where it's a more centered show. But at the same time, we're just, okay, we got to figure out
ourselves.
No, we're not going to kill ourselves.
Before.
Because we used to kill ourselves with all this in-depth. And sometimes I'll just be honest, I don't feel like these shows deserve that. Like, a lot.
Well, based on what I read today in the Hollywood Reporter about how Marvel was doing things, basically throwing $165 million buckets of money at the problem and hoping something works out instead of just, paying the writers and doing shit the right way.
Speaking of news to talk about, since that's pretty much that, like that is the thing. There's a lot of things that we have to combat in order to put this show out, in order to bring you what we bring. And sometimes I have to think about, is it worth it or not? And especially recently, like when my father passed, it made me put everything into perspective. And it was a lot of like whammies in a row where a lot of people were like, nah. And I was like, hold on, fam. You know the fuck I am? And I really had to say that to certain people. And I'm going to say this right now. I'll shout out to the people at Apple because me and them got into it, straight up. And then we cleared it up and we all good. And I want to give them a second right now because they sent me the first. I can't even talk about much of it because they're, it's really coming out soon. Yeah, but it's just more like, I think the social embargo is up, but no reviews. So I won't even say much about it. But Monarch, Legacy of Monsters. It's the new show on Apple from the Godzilla universe, and it comes right off the Godzilla films. It features shots and scenes from the Godzilla films. I mean, it pretty much takes place after Godzilla and Godzilla versus King Kong. I think it's pretty much up to time. And I've seen 4 or 5 episodes. There's like 8 episodes so far. I think I've seen 4 of them. I'm loving it. All right, let me just say
limited series though. Like
no, that's a series.
Well,
it could be
I
like 8
understand
episodes.
this being limited series, but like I feel like everything is like 6 episodes, 8 episodes. Like
I don't need more than that.
You don't need more than that?
No.
When it's done well, then you probably don't.
No,
but it's like, you need more.
And we'll talk about Loki in a second. And you barely need that. That is the problem, man. People, and there are a few things I'll talk about with that, but
okay.
Monarch Legacy of Monsters, really dope. Once it drops, I think they're doing a premiere at New York ComiCon for the first episode. If you got Apple TV, Apple TV got a million different fire ass shows that no one watches. And
because you need to pay. It's just another fucking service. I know, but they,
no one got it. Dollars to Donuts, they got, they're killing everyone else. It's just they don't have the right marketing behind it.
Yeah.
And I think this one might be one of them that'll help them because this is really geek oriented. And and it's a brand where I don't think they've had that. Like they had C, which was a really dope show, but it was like an unknown, but it's unknown brand. It's a new IP. While this is this is Godzilla. So I think this is going to draw them in. Kurt Russell and his son play the same character in it.
Yes.
It's dope. That's really dope. I really love how they're doing that. I love Kurt Russell's son and I love Kurt. So look. Check it.
Kurt Russell's son's my nigga.
You know who he is?
Nigga.
John, walk it out, baby. Walk it out. Get out.
He's such a
Oh, he's the
fuck
man.
up. He's such a fuck up, but I
He's
love
the
him.
man. Yeah, I can't wait for what's that, Thunderbolts?
He was like, "Who are you? I'm gonna touch a Dora Milaje." Like,
yeah.
what?
Man, you know he gonna act up in Thunderbolts. Oh my god, he gonna be acting up. But yeah, on that, speaking of Thunderbolts and everything else, Marvel, and what we were just talking about, you know, with shows having long run rates. First, I want to give a big shout out to my brother Melo Brown. Check out Bear Mello is his name on YouTube. Make sure you follow his channel, hit that subscribe button, all that good stuff. He has his first in a series breakdown of pilot episodes because, you know, Melo Brown is, you know, a quite successful WGA writer and soon to be showrunner. So, you know, my man's doing his big things out there. And so to help other people get into the business, he's doing a series of YouTube videos where he'll be breaking down anime pilots and showing how they use such ill techniques that a lot of Western pilots don't use, and show how those can be applied to Western pilots. So that way, you know, you can write a better pilot. His first one is on this show Blue Period, which is one of the few animes that I've watched. And Blue Period's pilot is like one of those fuck you, you know, pilots. It's just like, fuck you for writing this dope shit. You know, how could you write this incredible and direct? Everything about Blue Period's pilot is just perfection. And Melo breaks down why it's perfection. And talking about time, Blue Period is 30 minutes long. You know what I mean? And it's doesn't need time. All right. So check that out. And then I'm going to keep on going about time, right? Because make sure you follow Bear Mello on YouTube and watch that. And then getting to time, we get into Loki, right? Which season 2 just dropped. Episode 1 is out. By the time you see this or hear this, episode 2 will probably be out. I personally enjoyed the first episode, right? I thoroughly enjoyed the first episode. It's all the characters I love. Loki, Mobius, B-52, B-57. You know, yeah.
Just yelling out shit now.
It is B-57, right? She's 57. B-52 is the group. I know. Yeah, all the whole trappings, the TVA, we're back in it, all that, right? I also felt like the first episode was a big waste of...
Her name is B-15.
B-15, sorry, all right.
Big waste of time?
Yes, and I'll explain why. A big waste of time, right? And really and you see there was a character I didn't mention, right? And criminally negligent in its use of Sylvie, okay? Who's the heart and the soul of the first season and shows up in basically an after credit scene when we don't get to see any of her reaction to all the events that are driving this episode, to the big event. We don't get to see her reaction or her emotion. Perhaps we'll get to see it in episode 2.
I think that's the point.
It does not bode well for time, right? Once again, because you have a whole 45 minutes of time that you could have devoted, because we only have so many episodes again, right? We only have so many episodes. So
6 episodes.
All right. So what you did devote to in this episode, right? Loki starts off being in fear of Kang and knowing that Kang is coming, right? Loki ends the episode being in fear of Kang and knowing that Kang is coming. And look, he wants to find Sylvie. He starts the episode wanting to find Sylvie. He ends this episode wanting to find Sylvie. B-15 starts the episode knowing that the timeline is split and that that's how it should be, and she needs to find Sylvie. Ends the episode knowing the timeline is split, needs to find Sylvie. Mobius starts the episode same way, knows the timeline is split, needs to find Sylvie, needs to find Loki. Ends the episode, knows the timeline is split, needs to find Sylvie, needs to find Loki.
He found Loki at the end.
Okay. A mission accomplished. Wow.
Well, is that your point?
Let me keep going. I'm not done yet, right? Okay. We're introduced to a new character who's, basically provides a MacGuffin for this episode, where they have to do a bunch of things. A problem that was only introduced in this episode, fixing Loki's time jumping thing, and solved in this episode. It wasn't carried over from the last season. Why didn't that happen to Sylvie? That's another question that probably won't be answered, and that is my biggest thing about this episode, and I'll finish with that, is that none of this will matter. They're not going to go back to that MacGuffin. It's a pointless MacGuffin. Why would you go back to that? Because we already know the timeline is split. And the MacGuffin didn't fix the timeline being split. The timeline was still being split, and the TVA just needed to put the shields down so he can power up the thing to make sure that the thing can handle the timeline being split. But the timeline will still be split. Yeah, the loom, which will never be referenced again, because why would it need to be? And that was my problem with this episode. I felt like no one moved, and the most important character, Sylvie, isn't even featured. So it doesn't bode well when you only have so many episodes. To waste so much time on a MacGuffin that won't matter, and then you don't focus anything on the main character. And don't get me wrong, it's fun. You know, it's witty. It's got all the things you miss. Sea-Doo, jet ski. Oh, Mobius being, it's fucking almost and eating up the scenery. And, I mean, my man is playing Loki, and he's, and he's fearing for his life. And he's like, he's selling Kane better than Ant-Man or anything else.
Absolutely.
Ever did. Absolutely. But we knew all this, and he was already there. And I don't need you to have a whole season's progression, but I need to see where you're going. In this episode, I saw nothing because no one made a move that they weren't already making.
I think
no new problems were introduced, no new, or that weren't solved in this episode.
Well, according to you, a lot of stuff didn't get addressed or solved. I mean, you said people didn't move, so there were a lot of things not solved.
No.
Besides the MacGuffin.
But those things but that's what I'm saying. All that was from last season. All those characters were already on that path.
Yeah.
Nothing new was introduced to their paths to make them change their point, to to reassess things, to think about things differently, to be like, maybe I shouldn't go on this path. Everyone's path is still the exact same that they were on last season. And then we had a MacGuffin episode where they had to solve a problem that won't matter next week.
Right.
And that's...
I was gonna say, based on your feedback is very sound and it's logical, and when you're talking about story structure, concept, and the reason, that what you're saying makes perfect sense. When you're looking at it from a pure entertainment standpoint, I think it hit the mark.
Yes,
I greatly enjoyed the episode.
Greatly enjoyed it.
Now that was separate from everything you said.
Yes.
Then once I apply all that, I'm like, yeah, well, we don't have much time for y'all to be
fucking around,
doing nothing and fucking around. We only have 6 episodes, and
it's only 6.
It's only 6 episodes, and you burned episode 1. Critics saw the first 4.
Oh God, this Moon Knight all over again. Oh my God.
I was, and that's where I go back to certain series, no, it don't have to be that long.
No.
It's also when it's you could use more time. I guess I feel like this is one of them ones that maybe needs it, but
because they're wasting it. They would waste it no matter what they did.
They don't waste.
No, because that's the thing. It's when you waste, if you have more, you're gonna waste more. Because if you have less, you're going to use less. Because I got less, and this is all I got.
But they got less, and they still wasted. So what is
because
this?
that's what they ain't got shit to say. And that's my worry. And this is y'all, because we did not see those first 4 episodes that some critics did. But when I saw the first 4 of Moon Knight, and I knew there was only 6, it was the same thing. I was like, ain't no way.
Not get there.
I saw the first 4.
Me see so much.
And I was, me and Tatiana were just we didn't want to ruin it for y'all and everything. But I was like, there's no way, knowing story structure and stuff. I was like, there's no way. Or if they do, it's a miracle.
Yeah.
If they pull this together.
That makes sense from a review, critical standpoint, because it's if you're able to show people weeks, months ahead of time, 78% of the series, and it's not enough to give away or give you real full context of what's going on, I don't know if that's a good or bad thing.
No, that my thing with Moon Knight was more so that I knew that 78%, there was no way in that 22% they could wrap up that 78%. Logically. I knew it would fall flat on its face. And, people might disagree with me, but I felt like Moon Knight fell flat on its face at the end. I feel like the series does not make sense when you go back and look at it. A lot of things don't hold up to a rewatch. And the director claims they do, but they don't. And that was my issue. Because it's a show that should be that. That's what they wanted. But they fell flat on their face. And sadly, God damn it. Shout out to Kate Herron, our peoples. She is not showrunning this season. And
She's not directing. Well, my question to my next comment actually was going to be, could we compare this first episode to last season's first episode? And in terms of what you're saying about introduction of
No, because last season
problem
they had to do so much more work.
They did, but I'm just saying.
Introduce all
I'm just
that.
saying
Yeah.
I'm just saying that the first episode of each season, regardless of what work has to be done.
Yeah.
Like just from an introductory perspective, just from a story structure perspective, if you compare the two, where would you feel like we are?
Well, that's what I think. I think every start of your season should be like a pilot episode. Now, it's not going to be as good as your pilot because pilots are, incredibly hard and incredibly difficult, and you've already established the world, all that.
The Loki season 1 pilot episode was pretty damn good.
It's incredibly good, because that's what I mean. It had a lot of work to do. It had all the TVA to introduce all these new characters.
But you can argue that season 2 also has a lot of work to do. Sure, there's stuff that's been established and you're just continuing or hopefully continuing that through line. But my thing is you are now having to grab all those same people from almost 2 years ago back into the fold. That's number 1. Number 2, you still have to grab new people. 3, you're combating against very bad negative reviews of the last 2 big time, quote unquote, Disney Plus shows, Marvel shows. Like if we keep it a buck right now, like they're not at the highest level right now.
No, at all.
You understand?
And that's why.
So this did have a lot of work to do, and I don't know if it accomplished that to what you're saying, but it was entertaining.
It was entertaining, but it was one of the things. One thing it doesn't have to do is establish the world because this thing doesn't. If you did not watch season 1, you're completely lost in the story. So you
or unless you watch that quick,
that ain't
quick
gonna
intro
do it.
video.
It ain't gonna do it. You're gonna watch season 1. And that's and they know that because they have it's all right there. Not only are you gonna watch season 1, if you have to, you're gonna watch pretty much all leading up to it. The MCU. So because it's all right there, and you can always do it. If you're watching this on Disney Plus, then you can watch it. So they don't have to do that work. So, and that was my thing. I felt like there wasn't much work done in this episode other than being entertaining, other than like quips and that Marvel shit that gets away with not having a story.
I have a question though. What you're saying made me start thinking like, are we at that nexus point, to use a Marvel term, are we at the nexus point where if you have no insight into the Marvel universe that you can't jump in? Are we at that point where it's just like, and I'm not talking, obviously they're going to bring in new characters, they're bringing in new actors to replay those characters, but it's like, if you did not watch the first 12, 15 years of the MCU and you start now, can it be done? Is it possible? Are you going to be lost? And I'm not even talking about catching up. I'm not talking about going back. I'm starting now as someone who doesn't know shit. Am I going to be all right?
Well, let's say you started on Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, which is a film that really says, fuck what happened in WandaVision. Well, actually, it doesn't in one way, because Wanda is a villain at the end of WandaVision. And the film says she's a villain.
But whatever. So, that's a really strange film to start on, but okay.
But I'm just saying.
That's a hard one. I wouldn't, okay.
But I'm saying right now, it's, you in the thick of shit, so you're going to have to start on some craziness. So if you start on that, it explains. Wanda's the villain. This dude's trying to fix the multiverse. Boom. And you can watch that movie and enjoy it. That's the thing. That's what Marvel is exceptionally good at. You can watch any of these things by themselves and get, for the most part, at least
you
the
would enjoy
better
it, but
ones.
would you understand? And I'm not talking about on a comic
You don't need to understand
level.
all that. That's the thing. Like, you can watch Spider-Man No Way Home having never seen any of the other Spider-Man. If you'd seen the Spider-Man movies before that, you would have all those nostalgia hits and all that.
Yeah.
And if you'd never seen Tom Holland, it wouldn't matter.
But if you didn't, and that's my question. Like, if you didn't, are we at? Is Marvel? They're kind of
that's what I mean. It's like that's what I just mean. It's like all these movies, the better ones especially, can be enjoyed. Like, people saw Ant-Man. That was their first Marvel movie, that third Ant-Man, and people who enjoyed it. People who didn't. I thought it was cool. Yeah, I didn't think it was like, I'm not in a rush to watch it again. But
I'm not gonna watch it again.
But I know people who enjoyed it. You know what I mean? So it's like this. The first episode of Loki, I thought was like enjoyable, but also a bit waste of nothing. But I think if you jumped in right now, you probably would need to watch Loki season 1. But I don't think you need to watch much more than that. because Loki is its own series. Like, it starts off and it explains everything that went on before that.
Yeah, that's true.
And then throughout the series, especially through season 1, it explains the history of Loki. He gets to watch the film of his life. You get caught up on a lot of, his history through the MCU through, pretty good storytelling. Even though that film shit was like, that was an easy, like, let's have them watch a, clip show. So, catch everyone up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm glad we're having this conversation, Ben. I mean, because when I said, "Oh, I enjoyed it," and he was just like, "Nah," like he had a complete opposite reaction from me. I was just like, "Whoa, what? Why?" But then, like you said, again, but you're also looking at it in a very also mechanical way that certain people may not be looking at it.
It wasn't even like that though with this. When I watched the episode, I was like, "That was great," very enjoyable, funny. Okay. Oh man, I went to sleep and I woke up in the morning and I was like,
"Yo," you thought about it.
I was like, "Yo, did anything happen in that joint?"
Like a consequence. I mean, Loki got pulled out of being time slipping.
Yeah, but that was created in that joint.
Yeah.
And Sylvie didn't need to get that, but she went through the same shit. Allegedly, like.
And we got to see Ke Huy Quan. So, hey, the dad from Everything Everywhere All at Once.
And Short Round from Indiana Jones. And Casey's back, so you're like, oh, Casey, but that's what I mean.
I don't give a fuck about Casey. I've never
damn.
I know y'all niggas, but.
I don't give a damn right about him. He's funny, but, I'd had enough Casey. Like, I didn't need to see him in this episode.
Who did you miss, though? Like, I obviously missed Loki.
Sylvie.
And that's the other part, because someone's going to say that. They're going to say, oh, Ben, you just wanted to see Sylvie. Is it more than that? I mean, or is it just really that's one of the base reasons you was like, where the fuck is Sylvie?
She is the heart, like, whether or not her name is, the show is not named Sylvie, but she's the heart and soul.
The show is about her. She's Loki.
Yeah.
She's also Loki. She's Sylvie, but she's Loki.
Yeah, and so she's the heart, and and it's their relationship. And I get that they're separated right now, and she's going through her own thing. And like maybe episode 2, will be all Sylvie, and I'll be shutting up next week.
In a day, you'll be shutting up.
Yeah, but
right
now, I don't know. And like I said, if there's only 6, damn, that was like basically 2 is going to start the show. Because 1 was, like I say, no one moved.
The show. Yeah.
No one moved. Everyone is at the same point they were. I'm not gonna say it all again, but
besides Sylvie.
Besides Sylvie, because we don't know what
she moved around. We know she's in Wisconsin or Kansas, or wherever the hell she went.
Yeah, we know she's
off that.
And we know why she's there. She wants to live her life and enjoy all the things she never got to enjoy. All right, so we'll see. Like I said, I enjoyed it. It just
I miss Mobius writing Skin.
Yeah. That was great. It was all.
Okay, let's talk about but the things that did work, like you said, just from a pure entertainment perspective.
I mean, they're great.
I did like them jumping, like using the concept of time. They actually still doing it right, like using that concept of talking to somebody in the past and their future stuff.
They were doing the Bill and Ted.
Yeah, slowly remembering what they've been told 400. That's what they did with OB. Like I thought that shit was cool. Like I said, things that get written or broken that in the future or the past, you see the effects of it. That reminded me a lot of games and stuff. And like you said, it's been on an older movie.
Bill and Ted did that the best. Like at one point, he's like, "Remember to drop a trash can on this guy's head," and the dude's like, "What?" And then a trash can drops on the guy's head because he's like, just remember to do this later. We got to go back in a time machine and then drop a trash can on this guy's head.
Yeah.
And
that stuff is played to like great comedic effect. I love shit like that because it's clever. It's not just a regular joke. It's also like, hey, let's throw some physics in there and then the joke and all that other shit. Great. That worked,
No, like I said, it was wildly entertaining. It just doesn't bode well. That's all I'm saying. Like 5 more,
Where's Miss Minutes? And I even know Miss Minutes was like, what is she? We still don't know what she is, because apparently she's not just a hologram. Because Mobius and them, not Mobius, but Loki and them's like, oh, don't trust her.
Because she was there with He Who Remains. Right. She knew all this was going to happen, is what he's saying. She was there with him, so she already knew what was happening.
Are we going to see her? Are they going to forget about her too?
Oh no, she's
we're
in
never
the
going to hear about the loom. Like we're never going to hear about the loom ever again. You think?
Would you fuck around and find out it's going to happen? Somebody gonna fuck around and find out with Miss Minutes, but no, the loom I doubt ever gets mentioned again.
Yeah.
I almost say I want to put money on that, but no, I ain't that silly.
I think I'm personally trying to understand B-15's arc, Wunmi Musako. I'm trying to understand her arc. Like all she kept saying was, oh, the world is different now. We got to move different now. And I'm like, all right, cool. But then what is she? She's just an assistant to Loki and Sylvie's story. Like, is she just simply supporting that? Does she have her own story? That's what, if anything, like out of the entertainment side, that's one of the things that bothers me, because it doesn't feel like what's like. I'm glad they're giving her more screen time, obviously, but it's just like, what are they gonna do with her? Like, okay, B-15. Now you got cut out. You're Neo. You out the Matrix. Now what? That's how they playing her. That's the, at least in the first episode, that's kind of how they're playing her. And I'm like, okay, now what y'all gonna do with her? She gonna do some shit, or she just gonna be a sideline character? I don't know. We'll find out.
I read one review from someone who's seen the first 4, and they said Sylvie is wildly underwritten. So, like I say, after seeing the first episode where she's barely in it, I was like, yeah, I don't spend much. And then, if Sylvie ain't getting no love, that's better,
crazy, because
be better stand in line, because
the whole point of the whole first season was Sylvie. Like, all roads lead to that one. So I don't understand. Like, I would give them, the only thing I could think of that was a sense was like, oh, this is, and it's a cheap shot, but this is the carrot we're dangling in front of you. We all know you want to know what's happening with Sylvie. So you got to follow this white rabbit all the way to the end of the 45 minutes, and just to find out that she's in Kansas. So
yeah, watch next episode. Do we want to do a McDonald's, commercial at some point in the future? I know they already did McDonald's commercials.
But I will say that marketing tie-in was, again, this is the marketing major in me. That marketing tie-in was pretty cool, even though I don't know if it really went anywhere. But the marketing tie-in they had with McDonald's, where they had like all the different types of shows, including Loki, that incorporated McDonald's to it. They even had Coming to America with McDonald's and shit like that. So
that was
I thought that shit was fire. Like, okay, y'all giving the nods and flowers to the other people who's really, like, honoring y'all legacy too. So whatever. I don't know. Listen. Yeah, I'm in it. I'm still in it. I'm still in it. I mean, I'm gonna be in it. This is the Marvels. Like, we weren't here for all, for Secret Invasion, right? I think we made it. We didn't record, but I wasn't.
No, I was here. I mean, I watched it all. Don't get me wrong. I'm talking about we didn't record. And that shit was ass. Like, I mean, you just talk about not calling things ass, but
it was Anti-Scroll Social Club and Anti-Scroll.
Yeah,
okay, all of them.
And okay, that's not okay. I like, not to call things ass, but like I felt like nothing happened, and then the biggest things that happened in that show, I feel like will not be referenced. I mean, they're not going to be referenced here because Loki is in some interdimensional shit. But at the end of that show, the president of the United States of America basically just declared war on all alien races, not just the Skrulls. He said any alien, murder them. Put them, and that's Asgardians. Like, that's a lot. And there's Asgardians in Norway.
But Ben, there's also like a celestial in the ocean somewhere.
That's supposed to get mentioned.
That's never been touched for 4 years.
It's supposed to be the big story in Armor Wars.
Okay.
So
they actually address the hand in the middle of the
because I think Armor Wars are going to be like people trying to salvage the celestial tech from the celestial. So we'll see. But yeah, I don't know if that, kill all the aliens is going to get referenced again. I just don't. And that was the most interesting thing of that show. So that's all, that was my part of that. Like, that was the most interesting thing. Other than that, I didn't feel like anything happened. Okay. I feel like a lot of these things are waiting in for something to happen that is never going to happen. News came out today that Marvel quietly fired they weren't even called showrunners. Thanks to the new WGA deal, now Marvel is going to put showrunners on all the shows. That's the new WGA deal at work. Shout out to y'all. Great work there. So, yeah, Daredevil needs new showrunners. I just feel like I think Marvel's like creating all these different shows in vacuums, and I think that might be a problem. That's
what the Hollywood Reporter report said, but essentially expressed that things were being created in a vacuum. That's why I had said earlier when we were speaking, they were literally just throwing money at the problem. Just like, all right, let's just create something, and damned to planning and this and that. Like, it was giving DCEU, not DCU, not current DCU, but DC. It was giving that for a while. I was just like, what's going on? It just feels like you just doing anything, because it's like it's kind of like someone knows they're gonna win no matter what. So they kind of, the effort's not exactly all the way there.
It's they won 2 championships. It's hard to win that third. You know, it's mad hard to win that third. You know, it's mad hard to win one. But then when you win two, you know, it's like everyone's gunning for you and you get complacent. That's when Shaq got fat. You know, Shaq was super fat on that third championship. You know? And, you know, that's why it was the last one for the Bulls. I mean, the Bulls did it twice, but, you know, the second time, that was it.
Somehow this is going to get back to Shaq. We're only a few degrees of separation. This is going to get back to him.
We're almost, it's almost basketball season, baby. Go Lakers. We're almost back. Shout out to Cameron and Mace too on It Is What It Is because they are doing it. That has become my favorite show over the last year and big inspiration to me as well. So shout out to them. They're doing it. Love that shit. I watch it every morning now.
Yeah. So just to finish up with Loki, like we're still in it. I am concerned based on, like I said, I've been hearing mixed reviews from people who saw the first 4. I still am hopeful because I still have fun, and I'm gonna let that be the catalyst to give me the energy to keep going. You know what I'm saying? Like, but what you said was not wrong. What you said was very, very on point.
And I think it, you know,
and troubling.
And I think this is another fat chat, you know, instance where it's like they are coasting on what came before. You know, they're coasting on Owen Wilson and why can I not remember Loki's at Hiddleston? Tom Hiddleston. Yeah, they are coasting on knowing how great these people are at these roles. You know, knowing
is that going to be the new like literary test name that you created, the Fat Shack test? Like,
that's when you've been winning too long. Like you've been doing it way too long. Yo, Shaq looking good today. Shout out to Shaq, man. I saw him on TV today, and that man is slimming up, bro. Because he been putting on some pounds doing that hosting. And that boy, he was looking good today. Yo, that dude is, good. In shape.
What about your girl? We haven't seen her. Googling about the Ravana.
Man, it's a damn shame.
You haven't seen her. Maybe we'll see her. You heard her voice. You heard her voice.
See what I'm saying? What a waste.
The biggest in terms of the real life implications, but what's going on with this whole Jonathan Majors thing? Like, we haven't talked nothing about that. And right now, I just feel like it's like that news cycle is dead now. I feel like no one people care. Way. People care, but I just feel like it happens this way all the time. Like something major happens that it's just like you really should be paying attention to it, and then it just disappears into the ether, right? Like,
I mean, because
is that going to come up again? Like, is he going to continue to be Kang? Like, what's happening?
I mean, the trial is still ongoing. That's what Fahey said. He's like, you know, we're not doing anything. And based on that, I believe that Disney has done their research and hired their super detectives
and they think they're good.
They think they're good because otherwise they would have fired this Negro.
Right?
Ain't no way. So
because doesn't he appear? Well, I mean, besides his image, doesn't he appear in this series?
Nigga, what? This nigga's the major villain of this. He is the antagonist.
Doesn't he appear heavily? I remember
Victor Timely. His AKA. Yeah, Victor Timely is.
I recall that he filmed a lot for this.
Oh, season. He is the main antagonist of this season. Yeah. You know, we have not seen him yet. But yeah. Victor Timely, I think, will be all over the second episode and throughout it, you know, from then on. And you know, everyone's guessing that it's going to end with more Kangs or different, you know, variations. But yeah. This is now, that is one thing people have said that, you know, maybe they recast him by the end of this, and I doubt it. I just don't think that's how it's going down. I think they're committed to Jonathan Majors.
They are committed.
The thing is
happening in context, in timeline context to like the events after Ant-Man. Because remember at the end of Ant-Man, they had that whole thing where it was the Trillion Kang. So like they was already loose. So like what is this?
If I think, I mean, I've said that already. Like Ant-Man doesn't really seem to make sense with the first season of Loki.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's my problem. It's just like with Doctor Strange. It feels like these things are being made in these vacuums where people are like, they're trying to connect it after it's over, but it doesn't really connect. So it's like, fuck it. You know, this Kang the Conqueror who's been trapped, but Kang the Conqueror was the one that we were worrying about. And at the end of Loki, all of the Kangs were freed. Mm-hmm. So why is this one trapped? And this one was trapped by the other Kangs.
That's what I'm saying.
So when did they trap him? When they weren't even in existence until 5 minutes ago.
I mean,
but F it, you know, fuck it, you know, because we're moving on, and now there'll probably be another Kang the Conqueror because that one was whack anyway. So, I don't know, you know.
You sound so exasperated.
It's like this shit could be dope. And the other thing with Jonathan Majors is I feel like the court of public opinion, especially, you know, black people and especially black women, well, not all, but some have. I think the court of public opinion right now is against him. So I don't think it matters what Marvel does or how this court case turns out. I think people view him as a woman beater, and that's just how it's going down. And I don't know if that's right, because like from what I've seen in the research, it seems like I don't know if I don't know. I don't know. Seems kind of weird on both ends.
Honestly, over the summer there was so much.
Yeah.
It was there was a lot of shakiness introduced, and that's what I'm saying. When you said like a lot of people are against him, I'm like, well, it's not as vocal as it was. I'm not saying that it's people still not against it. It just doesn't feel as vocal as it was. And that's why I'm like, I don't understand. I mean, I understand why. That's how media and that's how influence works. But like, for stuff to kind of just die down when it was like such a huge deal. Like,
but there's no more news.
It's crazy
and it's gonna pop back up when the case goes to court, officially. Because every time it goes to court, it keeps getting pushed back for something or this happens. So there hasn't been anything for people to feed on. It's not like Johnny Depp, when he was in court every day and there's news and it's like, oh shit, revelations and all that. So that's why people were feeding on that. Trust. If it gets into an ugly court case, like, or even close to anything like the Depp where the information comes out and shit comes out, it's going to be all over everything. Because this man's a superstar and the MCU is huge. And so it's like, once again, that negativity clits thing, people are going to use this to become stars themselves. So many people fed into that Johnny Depp trial just to say anything, and usually it was horrible, negative shit. And and they became little stars themselves. So, and we live in a world where people don't care about shame or anything, so people will do anything, for the click. And I'm just like, I like Jonathan Majors as an actor. I don't know him personally. I've never met the man. I don't know. Could be a woman beater, could not. Everything seems suspect. It seems suspect on his side. Seems suspect on the accuser's side. I don't know. And I wasn't there. I also know that most of Hollywood's dumb. Mm-hmm. And we also accepted all, or not we don't, but the industry will accept it from white people a lot more. Mm-hmm. And we go on and watch their movies. Tom Cruise, one of my favorites. I fucking love the Mission Impossible. This nigga's a commercial for Scientology, which is one of the, up there with the Catholic Church. All this shit's, it's like, it becomes one of those things like, who do you not support? Who did I just find out today was like a super right winger and believed in Jordan Peterson and all this kind of shit. Mads Mikkelsen. Like, yeah.
Well, he looks lit.
I know. He looks like a
he
damn
looks
Nazi.
It, sorry.
But no shots. You got the Nazi face, bro. No shots. Oh! And on Hannibal, he's rocking a Nazi haircut.
What?
You heard me, the Nazi face. He looks like he could play a Nazi. You know what I mean? Like, I would not, like, Mads Mikkelsen as a Nazi is not a stretch. You're like, yeah, that's a good role for him.
I don't think he's ever coming on this show. That's all right.
I don't really ask him. If that's true about him, fuck out of here. I don't care. Like,
yeah.
We should
see him at ComiCon and be like, you know what you look like, sir? Like, no.
I'm just saying it'd be a good role for you.
As if y'all didn't believe us before when we said we're very honest on this show. Extremely.
Sorry, Mads. You're also getting caught in that crossfire of working on Hannibal, which is, produced by, Brian Fuller, who is, there's court cases going on these days. There's a lot going on out here. I don't know who to believe anymore.
We got to move on. We have to move on to something more positive. This is something that I wanted to mention when you talked about Melo. I want to also shout out our brother Kimsonian, okay?
Oh, yes. Thank you.
Super, super, super excited because his short film, live action, Exposure, a film by Kimson Albert, is an official selection at Urban World and is going to be available it's going to be at screening on November 4th at 7:30 p.m. at AMC 34th in New York City. It's going to be streamed at the Urban World Film Festival. I am so freaking proud of my boy, Mr. Kimstonian. An animation extraordinaire, by the way, okay? Like, he's been behind the teams of, I mean, a Cartoon Network, like bread and butter right there. But like, I just love the fact that I've known him for so long now, and you've known him longer, but I've known him for so long now, and like just to see all the different things he's gotten to do in his life and all the progression and stuff like that. And same like even looking at people like you and everyone else, just like myself, like all the things that you just didn't even come to mind 10 years ago or whatever, and now you're doing it. Like, so salutes to you, Kim Sonian. Very proud.
So tight.
I will be seeing your film. And I also definitely encourage everyone who is in the New York City area to go see it. Again, I said it was on November 4th, 7:30 p.m. at the AMC 34th.
I just had to look, and I'm working that night, so I will not be. Yeah, that's why I just checked it, and I'm tight.
We've covered Urban World before. That's actually where I met Kofi Cerebro.
Nice, so yeah. Cute. I will not be there because unfortunately I have to work that night. But Kimson, I'll definitely check it as soon as it comes to streaming, or you hit me with that copy so I can peep it myself. But congrats to you. Very big things doing. And before we get out of here, speaking of some other big things, like we said, this week is New York ComiCon. You can catch us there. But next week is Howard Homecoming. HU. And we will be in the house. I'm actually touching down in DC Wednesday night, and I'll be there for Thursday, October 19th. Oh, because as you know, Tatiana and I will be at the NMHAAC. I think I got it right that time. Close?
You said NMAAHC?
No, MMH.
The National Museum of African American History and Culture.
Okay, I messed it up again.
That's all right. Close enough.
We will be there at the Oprah Winfrey stage presenting When They See Us as Heroes, a panel featuring Eve Ewing, Jonathan Gray, Tim Fielder. No, not Jonathan Gray. Sorry, brother. Jonathan, that's my dude, but you ain't on this panel.
I missed you so much, but I mean, it's the Oprah Winfrey Theater.
Yeah, butcher of names.
We will be on the panel. We will be moderating the panel.
The worst part is Jonathan listens to the show. He should be like, word? Right? And then it should be like, no.
Jonathan Gales.
Yeah. Sorry, Jonathan Gray.
Tim Fielder and Eve Ewing. Those will be the panelists that we will be hosting. Esteemed panelists. And we, again, super duper excited about that. Like, obviously honored. We've been talking about this like for almost a year now.
Yeah.
Or at least alluding to it and then having to talk about it 6 months before. But like, this is exciting for many different reasons. I mean, it's the Black Sonian. It's like, to be able to be asked to do something like that is humbling, and to also to be recognized for our contribution to the culture is inspiring and humbling at the same time. So and it makes us feel good. Like, at the end of the day, like, not everyone does things for like accolades and awards and stuff, but it's nice when you get them. So, and it's nice when you have these opportunities. And similar to what we were talking about before, like, yo, we've been doing this. We're professionals. Give us the opportunities because we're going to kill it. We're going to kill it every time. We've done this. We know what we're doing. And, again, just shout and salutes to the African American Museum, because like, this is going to be incredible. And also just a reminder for those who are interested in attending in person, please register. It is free $99. You just got to register. If you can't be there in person, but you still want to watch it, there is a streaming option. You still got to register. I think that's the way you're going to get the link. And if you're going to be there in person, they are actually encouraging everyone to show up in cosplay.
Oh.
So dead ass, this is going to be the ForAllNerds Comic-Con in DC during Howard Homecoming. We want y'all decked out in your cosplay. If you don't want to do the cosplay, that's okay. Make sure you're wearing your comic book or superhero shirt, or you can wear your ForAllNerds tees like we got. We just want to see you there in living color, looking great, beautiful, and just representing. And everyone is invited. Everyone is welcomed. And I'm just thrilled. I'm thrilled that it's happening. It's almost there.
Yeah, I
October 19th.
To this day, I still can't believe it. It's going to be insane. Yeah. It's going to be, a beautiful moment in time. And, we've worked hard for this, and we earn it, and we deserve it. And so, I'm just grateful. And I did not know that there actually people being cosplay, and that really influences my fit choice. So I'm becoming super fly. All right, now I know what I'm doing. I was trying to come in one thing. No, I'm coming with the colors.
They are encouraging cosplay. So, I mean, and my thing is like, this is pretty monumental anyway, right? Like, representing for the culture, representing for the fandom. You got to do it.
Yeah. And this is like, the whole Afrofuturism thing is basically what ForAllNerds is. It's like I'm gonna talk about this during the panel, but as a DJ, as someone who grew up on hip hop, which I feel is like Afrofuturism, like it's the promise of Afrofuturism. It's like George Clinton and all them and the mothership, were giving this idea, and hip hop to me is the promise of it because it's like this music that comes from using technology in ways that it wasn't meant to be used. And there's a whole other thing that I'll talk more about on the panel. You got to be there to see it because there's a lot going on. This just gonna be fire. And then, like we said, it's also Howard Homecoming. I'm touching down Wednesday night. Wednesday night, you can catch me at the 18th Street Lounge. It's fire, the newly revamped 18th Street Lounge. Shout out to my brother DJ Armageddon. Shout out to the Grandiose Group, everybody out there. My boy B Miller. Thursday night, I'll be at Park with my man Alamo and Big O. And shout out to Mark Barnes. Park. I mean, y'all know. You know how it's going down. Friday night day party. Check my Instagram. I can't remember where at. Some joint in Northeast. It's gonna be insane. This the third, fifth annual Hooky Day party. It's crazy. Whoo, it's going down. Saturday, I'm not sure where I'm at yet. And Sunday, I'm at the Dewdrop Inn with my brother Harry Hodder and DJ Analyze. That shit is to be an ill-ass event. I don't really think it's Howard Homecoming as much, but it's gonna be fire. So
okay.
Yeah.
Well, I will also be on the ground in the streets and all that during homecoming. Not telling y'all where I'm going to be. If you're there, you're there. If you're not, you're not. Great. But I am going to be celebrating.
You definitely got to come to one of them events.
An amazing alumni. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I actually tend to hit up several events. I actually tend to, especially like the day of tailgate Saturday, like because there's like always a million events, like literally parties and events happening on top of the other. They're all overlapping and sometimes they're really close. So I will be at multiple events. Shout
out to my man Bobby Patterson who bought the Old Bar 7. That's gonna be popping all weekend. Okay. Yeah, it's a lot going down. U Street gonna be outrageous. We have Pearl Lounge Saturday night, might be up in there for a quick minute. So yeah, it's a lot going down. Follow me on Instagram, DJ Ben. I mean, you know what I mean.
You can follow me on Instagram too and see my thirst trap. So, but that being said, I think, is there anything else that we should be mentioning or talking about? I mean, like I said, Loki comes out Thursdays at 9 p.m. So I know we're going to be watching that. We're probably going to come back next week. And that's another thing. I think like the scheduling of when we do our reviews is going to be different than what y'all used to. Like, yeah. Like, we used to, again, when we talk about busting our ass, like you would get that shit right after, right? Or like the next day. And obviously, and also that was helped by, us being able to see review previews. Yeah. So, if we can't do that, then, we got to do it. We got to do it the hard way. Right. So, and I think this actually might be helpful for you all. Cause as I think about it, like, the day before. So like leading up to the next episode, like that's when it's fresh in your mind anyway. Mm-hmm. So it might be worth you hearing from us a little bit later. And that allows this information to marinate a little bit.
Allows us to marinate. Because if I'd recorded this one, the night of, or, right after I saw it, I would have been like, oh yeah, very enjoyable. And then I would have been like, the next week I would have been like, people would have been like, but Ben, you said it was enjoyable. And now you're hating on it.
But you said.
Yeah, because like the next week I would have been like, especially if it, because I've heard the second episode is slow. And I've heard another problem
that too. Ron from POC Culture said the same.
Yeah, and the 4 episodes I've heard spend a lot of time. Like this one did too much time to me on what Bruce Willis said in Looper when you're talking about time travel. We'll be all here today drawing diagrams with straws. Mm-hmm. And I feel like the first episode was a lot of diagrams with straws. And I feel like they're down for a lot more diagrams with straws. Like they're like, let's do this because we ain't got shit else to talk about.
Oh, please, guys. Nobody cares.
I know.
Nobody cares about the diagrams. Like you said, we just want to see Sylvie and Loki and how they're going to get out whatever mess that has been created. Yeah. Or not.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I think that's about it. Like we said, catch us at New York Comic-Con this week. It's going down. We were talking about all the things. So a lot of comments. Oh, right now, I ain't been doing comments like cop, but shout out to my brother Joel, who has been holding it down.
Yes, Joel is also going to be at New York Comic-Con. So if you see, he's been holding down crazy. He's been having those comments I cop videos throughout the summer. If you see Joe, say hello, thank him,
Yep.
all that other stuff. Give him his
He'll be wearing
flowers.
one of the shirts as well, so it'll be easy to
Yes.
spot. But he's been killing it, and I just want to shout out. I haven't been reading too much stuff. I mean, I've been reading. I'm bullshit. I'm always reading a whole hell of a lot of things, but new, old, whatever. X-Men Red is still in fuego. Al Ewing and Kieran Gillen on Immortal X-Men are just doing the Lord's work, and I just want to shout them both out because those two books have been incredible. Al Ewing also killed it with the first issue of Immortal Thor. I think that's about it from the mainstream that I've been reading. And that's about all I got time or that I can remember right now to shout out. So yeah, check those out though, because I'm really loving what's going on with the whole mutant saga. Just this whole from, what? Oh no, I will shout. No, I won't. No, I'm gonna keep it positive. I'm gonna keep it moving. Yeah. So, shout out to what Hitman did on, House of X Powers X. The first issue of Gods, that's Hitman's new book. I don't know about. That's all I'll say. I don't know. The
Okay.
first issue is like, I don't know.
And before we go, I also want to give a personal shout out to Stephanie Williams. Steph,
Yes.
I will. She has a lot of stuff. Like that child does not sleep. But particularly, I love the big props she got last week when she mentioned Strange and Unsung, the all stars of the DC multiverse,
Yep.
because there's a forward by James Gunn. I guess the head honcho now of DCU, and he just was posting about it like everywhere, and I just really like that she got that shine and that support. So shout out to you, Steph, and we're gonna see Steph at ComiCon too.
Most definitely, she got a bid table. I think she'll be sitting next to the bid dogs this year, in Artist Alley. Artist Alley is like that, yo. Artist Alley is based on popularity. Like Tom King holds down this one spot, and then I remember couple years ago, Kari Randolph and them, they were hitting with the Magic book. Jesus, why is the name slipping me right now? But they were hitting with that book, the Urban Magic book, Excellence, killing with that shit. And they had to slot their table was right next to Tom King. And I was like, oh, Kari, you feeling good
shine.
this year? Yeah, getting that love this year, right? He's like, yo, Excellence is selling through the roof. I think they got an option for a movie, all that shit. So they, they were living right then.
Yeah.
So see where Kari will be there this year, I think. I can't wait to see, man. I can't wait to see everybody. Like we said, if you see us, say what up. We've told people this for years. We are easily to approach.
We're not
Just say hi. We are not mean. We'll smile. We'll love taking pictures for people. I love hearing that you're a fan of the show. It makes my fucking day, makes my week, dog. I promise you, I was looking at pictures from old Comic-Cons and those cats who I didn't know who came up to me like, yo, I love your show. Da, 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 da. We took a picture, There's cats who I've become friends with through the years just from them saying what up. So, be one of them. Shout out to my man Tiger Billionaire, my brother, who is like my dog now. He knows who he is. So hopefully I see you there this year. And yeah, man, can't wait.
Make sure you're following us on everywhere across the internet, everywhere on the socials at ForAllNerds. We are going hard per usual. And yeah, we're back. So
make sure you follow me on twitch.tv/DJ Ben Amin as well.
Are you coming back?
Yeah, not just For All Nerds. Follow me on DJ Ben Amin. I'm going to be broadcasting on there. I've been working on music heavy. If you follow my Instagram, you've seen a lot of it. You've heard a lot of it. I've got 2 songs that are being actually mixed now. I'm about to get them mastered and they'll be releasing soon. So I'm going to be doing a lot more stuff on there. Just, playing music. I got a plan just to play some music, play some video games, talk some shit. So might actually do something later tonight, seeing how I'm feeling, see if I stay up all night because I'm hyped for fucking Comic-Con. And then Spider-Man 2 drops this weekend or next weekend, one or the other. I think next weekend.
The game.
Yeah, and so I'm gonna be heavy on there. Like I promise, I'm going to play the whole campaign on Twitch. Like whenever I'm playing the game, I'm going to be on Twitch. So follow me, DJ Ben Amin. Follow For All Nerds. They'll be on both of them. But make sure you follow my DJ Ben Amin channel. I'm trying to get that up, on my DJing and all that. So, all right.
Thank you guys for the love, the support, the understanding, the grace. And sometimes the hate too, because at least we know you're watching. Thank you for the free view. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
but honestly, just thank you for the attention, for the love and the support. That's most important. And thank you, Ben Hameen, for rejoining the fold. Thank you for coming back as the captain. The captain is back. So
thank you for all the
Your co-captain is here.
Yeah, thank you for being back, and thank you all for all the wildly disrespectful comments that I get on our Instagram, because my pictures are being used as the models for ForAllNerds.com.
Yeah.
And so people love to mention my 5 head and my shirt being too thin, my smile
so
being
weird.
terrible,
I'm in
extra
the ads
medium.
too, but people, I'm not in nearly as many ads as you.
But when is it all? It's always been like this, Tatiana. You know, anything we do, fuck this guy. Oh, look at Tatiana.
What's up, internets and the fam? This is Tatiana King for For All Nerds, and I want to thank you so much for listening and watching the For All Nerds. Make sure you like and subscribe to us only on YouTube.